The Mayo Experience.
That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. That Mayo Experience. Experience.
Welcome to another edition of the Dogger Pass podcast. This for UFC Vegas 4, Poirier versus Hooker. I'm Paul Shaughnessy, joined in studio by Cody Saftic, coming off the heels of the Max Roskopf. I may have been a truther. Actually, I was probably like leading the charge.
You weren't on the bandwagon, Paul.
You were
driving.
I was driving the bandwagon, and I don't think most people probably missed it on Twitter, but I self-imposed a shoey on myself because, people came through. I got them the Jim Miller. I had 10-1. Some people had like 8, 7, whatever to 1. That helped to mitigate some of the pain that happened, the max pain, as some would say.
What did
but
we
yeah,
learn,
so I was
though?
as
Did you
soon
at least
as
get a lesson.
he quit.
But
He
there's
quit.
a good lesson to be learned.
My whole thought about the whole process was this guy's a 2-time All-American national champion or All-American wrestler.
Yeah.
Those guys don't quit. Those guys don't have cardio issues. None of it carried through. I projected a little bit too much. So on Twitter, I told myself, I replied to a tweet of a fan and you, and I said, this ain't right. Somebody's got to do a shoey today. So I didn't have very much around here. And this one's for Terry and Diener, for our Canadian fans here. They'll understand what's up with that.
It's a grime boot, too.
We got a good old fashioned Canadian Pilsner. And then we got this is my winter boot. It's been here for months now.
I can confirm the longevity of this boot in the
It's been here. Have a look at the boot. It's nasty.
I got off lucky with my cowboy
It's nasty.
Okay,
I was shaking dirt out of it before we got started.
You probably can't see it from this close, but there's like a slight color on the metal from the salt that has just eaten it away.
These things have seen a good 5 Canadian winters. Trust me, they've seen some shit. So,
unlike Paul Shaughnessy ain't gonna quit.
They've never seen a thing. I haven't been drinking very much during this could be very bad. Let's get after it. You can carry on the conversation if you want.
Yeah, so the play-by-play is it's an
much
old-style Pilsner, pretty decent beer. I would say would go down fairly smooth. What I noticed when I did the shoey is that it won't leak through. Like, you don't got to worry about losing any. It's when you start to physically pour it, it'll generate a lot of foam. Like, mine generated a lot of foam.
Yeah, I see a lot of foam here.
Yeah, right. So that becomes the problem.
I think the shit, all the dirt and stuff is piling up here. Oh my god.
Okay, so then there's your saving grace. The beer tasted exactly the same. It might be a mind over matter thing, but as far as your palate goes, the beer's a beer. Well,
over the lips and past the gums. Look out, stomach. Here it comes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Paul's getting after it. You always get some spillage too. Should have got his little Anderson Silva. Holy fuck, man! You did way better than I did. Yeah, there you go, Paul.
First fight on the card, Dustin Poirier taking on Dan Hooker. Dustin Poirier, minus 220 favorite. Dan Hooker can be had for plus 180. I'm going to recollect myself here. Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I got to go with Dustin Poirier to get the victory over this one. Almost in a lot of senses, it feels like it might be a similar matchup for Dustin Poirier as it was versus him versus Max Holloway.
For the record, sorry.
For the record. Some people usually put it on their head.
For the record.
To be like, just so you know.
There's a little bit, but that's just there's a lot of padding in there.
Well, it's a winter boot, man. I would assume it had a lot of padding. I'm impressed, man. I'm impressed. You know why? Because
I can pound a beer.
It wasn't like you just paced yourself.
No.
You went out there like Justin James on that bitch.
I'm
just I'm just going to go for it as quick as humanly possible and get it done. And you got it done. Yeah. So I'm impressed with that. I think that Dustin Poirier doesn't have to just go out there and get it done as quick as humanly possible. His fight with Max Holloway, he shows over a 5-round period of time, 176 significant strikes landed. A lot of significant, not only just the word significant, massive blows. He had a sharp boxing advantage in that fight. And the problem with Max Holloway is even though he's a volume puncher, he doesn't have that stinging power. Without that stinging power, you're not going to keep Poirier off you. Those are the two ways to beat Poirier. You either have to have crippling ground game, solid wrestling, like a Khabib, keep on this guy and just keep peeling him to the ground and break him that way, or you have to have massive power, keep him off of you. If you're not going to sting him at no point or take him down, he's going to advance on you. It'll be a fun fight. But at some point, his punches are just going to be the heavier punches, and he doesn't mind landing as many. When you look at him versus Dan Hooker, it's not even like guy on his way up. Dan Hooker's on a roll, prospect versus old dog, former title challenger. Maybe he's not committed anymore. Dustin Poirier is 31 years old. Dan Hooker's 30 years old. Dustin Poirier turned pro in 2009. Dan Hooker, 2009. But when you look at Dan Hooker's record, it's a lot of fighting Jim Millers and James Vicks and Mark Diakiese's, whereas Dustin Poirier has literally fought nothing but title contenders, former champions, current champions, his last 5 fights. So I feel like it is a bit of a different class. I feel like over the course of 5 rounds, it should play out towards Poirier. I feel like even though Hooker brings it, and he brings a lot of excitement, and he will try to bring a pace out there, Max tried the same thing. I feel like Poirier's technical boxing will be the advantage. If you needed to take the fight to the ground, get the fight to the ground. And also, you look at all the pictures of ATT of him training right now. There's no 6 feet of distance COVID training at ATT. Like, these guys are hard in camp. There's 3 guys on the card. Masvidal seemingly, even though he's talking about I'm retiring because I want the money, he's mad in camp as well. Like, these guys are ready. I think Poirier's going to give a great version of himself. I think he takes care of business. And I think that 220 is pretty par for the course. He is that big of a favorite. He should be. The only one question you have with him is coming off a title defeat to Khabib, not realizing your dream of the title fight.
End of the run
yeah, was that like jumping
that?
the shark? Like shit. But again, only 31 years old. It looks like he's taking training seriously, which means he's still motivated. And there's more paydays to go through. I can secure that fight with Conor McGregor. But what I got to do in the meantime is go out, have these entertaining fights. And it's not just I'm basing it on that one fight with Max Holloway. You look at the fights with Eddie Alvarez. You look at fights where it's like, oh, dude, it's turning into a dog fight. And he goes out there and he performs.
He's a dog.
He's going to land 140 significant strikes. That's massive. Whereas Dan Hooker, the best he's doing, maybe 110, maybe he can try to keep pace with you. But like the Barbosa fight, he can only keep pace with you long enough that if he's not stinging you, he wasn't stinging Barbosa, eventually you lose his respect. You start to tee off on him a little bit more. And I think that'll be the key.
I mean, yeah, the thing with Hooker is his path to victory is the knockout. And I think Dustin Poirier at 155 pounds has proven that his chin issues was definitely something of him just cutting too much weight to get to 145, getting knocked out by Conor, and he got stumbled a whole bunch in other fights and whatnot. Yeah, I'm with you. I think Poirier comes from both come from great camps. Hooker doesn't actually spend all that much time. He runs his own gym, right?
Yeah.
So like he spends some time with Izzy and Volkanovski, but like he runs his own gym, it seems, for most of his stuff. I think he does some sparring and stuff with them. Yeah, I think Poirier is obviously better all the way around. Maybe coming in a little bit more seasoned, ready to go. And yeah, I've already added him to a parlay this week. So
right, and I would say the last thing to factor in there is that small cage definitely better than Dustin Poirier, because Hooker likes to stay on the outside and he likes to move a lot. So there is a path to him where just stay on the outside, jab this guy, try to matador him. He loves a good fight though, and he loves stepping in there and just getting into a dog scrap. So I don't think he's just gonna stay at the outside. But now that it's smaller cage, and we will talk about this when we get down to Tanner Boser versus Felipe Lins, it's going to affect that movement from the outside. And if you're forced to now stand with Poirier, as we just broke down, I think he's going to get better exchanges over the course of 5. Sign me up.
I haven't been drinking all that much over the
It was
pandemic
a tall boy,
here.
and it took you 15 seconds. So I bet you're at least some type of buzz.
I don't know if it was the best idea to drink it before the show or right at the top of the show. I'll tell you that much.
Also, you didn't sleep last night, and you probably haven't
I slept
eaten
last night
for a few hours.
I got like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay, yeah.
That's,
So
that's
all
pretty
these things,
standard
all
for
these
me.
things compound. Did you eat today?
No, I haven't.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
It's gonna. Well,
talk about bad choices. Let's talk
only
about
one
Mike
beer.
Perry.
Thank God I don't have like 2 or 3. Yeah, we have Mike Perry. Yeah, talking about bad choices. The cornerless Mike Perry. He will not have a corner for the upcoming fight by choice.
Technically.
I mean, he probably wasn't listening to anybody anyway. I've had some people say, you think that's going to be an issue? I don't think he was really listening to his corner. He's just going out and doing what he wanted to do anyway. He's minus 310. Mickey Gall is plus 255. I got Perry. The problem with Gall does have a path to victory here. It's secure the takedown, get it down. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. He doesn't have good wrestling. And, I mean, I just paid the price recently with Chase Hooper on the exact same type of situation. If you don't have the actual wrestling, then you're trying to cling on to people, grab them, pull them down. Like, it's a lot harder. If Mickey Gall can grab a hold early on, get this fight to the mat, or at least like jump to his back and drag him down to the ground, that type of thing. I don't see him shooting a double to take down Mike Perry. That's how he wins this fight. But otherwise, if he can't get the fight to the ground, he's going to get tagged. He's going to get tagged bad. It's not even going to be competitive on the feet. Perry doesn't need a corner to knock out Mickey Gall. And I think that's exactly what he'll do. Whether it's the first or second round, I think it happens eventually. What about you?
Yeah. You know what? I think what it comes down to is that in this kind of crazy times and shortened camp, what Perry's doing might not affect him that much because you can't deny for all the faults that this guy has, and he's got a lot of faults, Paul. You can't deny this guy's a fighter, and he'll go out there and he'll give 100% effort. It doesn't matter if there's one person there or a million people there. It doesn't matter about all those variables. He's going to step in there and he's going to scrap. He'll give you that best effort. What we're seeing a lot of these guys coming in on short notice, not that Perry's a short notice guy, is that a lot of these guys coming on short notice, they're just going out there and they're fighting. Maybe like we talked about, some of these old veterans, some of these savvy veterans. Perry's not an old guy by any means, and he's a 21 fight veteran. He has multiple fights in the UFC. He's just got a lot more experience than Mickey Gall, who's still only 6-2. It's still developing. Also, when you look at, it's not even just like a number of fights, is that physically speaking, right? Mike Perry's record includes smoking out old savvy veterans like Jake Ellenberger, fighting guys like Alan Joban, but Santiago Ponzinibbio, top 10 contender, right? Max Griffin was a tricky guy. Donald Cerrone, Paul Felder, Alex Cowboy Oliveira, Vicente Luque, Jeff Neal, they're all fucking contenders, Paul. All of these guys, whether they're going to be world champions, which they're not going to be, maybe Jeff Neal, who knows? Probably not. All of these guys are top 5, top 10 guys, whereas like Mickey Gall is not fighting anywhere. No, he's fighting Ron Templeton, Mike Jackson, CM Punk, Sage Northcutt, lost to Randy Brown, George Sullivan, Salim Touari. So let's reiterate. Ron Templeton wasn't in the UFC. Mike Jackson cut. Right? Well, he's not officially cut, I don't think.
We
all know.
He was never...
Right, CM Punk, I don't even know why he was there in the first place.
Mike Jackson's a reporter.
Sage Northcutt. Sage Northcutt has since... Yeah.
How many heavyweight titles has Mickey Gall actually ever won?
Yeah, 0. Nilch.
And
Nada.
How many has CM Punk won?
I think he's like, what? A 7-time champion or something?
That's
true.
a big win.
That is a big win. However, because they didn't go over the bout backstage beforehand, CM Punk just had no idea what to expect. Totally, son of a bitch shot on him. Totally wasn't expecting it. The Chicago screw job. So Mike Jackson, CM Punk, Sage Northcutt no longer with the organization. George Sullivan no longer with the organization. Salim Touari, again, should have never been with the organization. Diego Sanchez, that rough shot to bits. And we were on Sanchez. We cashed him as a good dog. This guy had enough to beat Mickey Gall. So all signs point to Mickey Gall wouldn't be a top 20 contender, a top 25 contender, let alone somebody in Mike Perry who lost a split to Vicente Luque. Most people thought he won that fight.
Yeah, Perry
Guy
gets
is a
it done
dog.
against
Guy is a
Sanchez as well. He would
Right.
knock out Sanchez.
Now
if they
listen,
fought.
I would love to fade Perry because all the signs are there. Like not only does he leave Greg Jackson's to go back to Fusion X, then he leaves there and training himself. And his girlfriend's going to corner him, and it's all the recipe for disaster. And the guy on social media looks like he's doing God knows what. He suffered a big gash on his face a couple days ago.
These things happen.
Right. Whack.
He has a big
But when
gash
it
on his
comes-
face from a couple days ago?
Yeah, he's got a cut on his forehead.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm telling you.
This fight isn't even going to happen.
It's like a dirt biking accident or something
Oh,
stupid.
an idiot.
Oh, yeah. And he's got like the Dumb and Dumber haircut. And I can't talk. I got a hat on all the time. Quarantine haircut. Woof. Quarantine hair going on.
Look at you're preaching to the choir here, kid.
Yeah. I'm going to go Joe Exotic at the back. You see this? You get a good shot of that?
Jesus.
Fucking rights it's coming.
You should be
in.
drinking the Pilsners.
Yeah, no, the rest is, I'll have a skullet because the rest will just, I'll lose that. But that back, fucking luscious. Anyways, jumping back to what we have here is that, yeah, ultimately, none of that shit's going to matter when the cage door closes and he goes out there and he fights. And then the one thing about Mike Perry is that he's got a mad underrated ground game. Like he's hard to take down when he is on the ground, hard to submit. Even between fights, he has that Ally Quinta submission underground fight. He beat Ally Quinta on escape time in submission underground. He shows dude, this guy knows what he's doing. He's competent. He's got skills everywhere. He's just a dumbass. And unfortunately, he's still more than enough to go out and defeat Mickey Gall. Now, Gall had spent a lot of time with Joe Schilling. His striking is improved. He looked with striking exchanges the first 2 minutes of the Diego Sanchez fight, but then he fell apart. I expect the same thing here. I expect his striking to look all right, maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes. After that, he's going to just be trying to tie him up and slow him down. You think first round knockout? I'm not so sure. I have a feeling this could be over 11.5, but eventually just Gall.
I said first or second. I'm not.
Right,
I said
And it
I
could
said
go to the
first
distance. It
or
could go to
second.
distance.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Distance.
Hey,
First or
I've had a drink now, so now I'm gonna stand up for myself. Yeah, no, I said
Fuck you.
Perry in either round 1 or 2. I don't feel
Yeah.
this is not a Jim Miller bet type of thing. I don't want people going out and betting Perry
Yeah.
round one because I said it. Because I bet you Perry round one is probably like minus 150. Or
No,
so.
I don't think
I haven't
so.
even looked at
Gall's
it, but I
getting
bet
out of
you
the
it's probably
first
pretty
round.
close.
He's losing, but he's getting out of the first round.
Fair.
He might lost a decision, but
Maybe.
I think he loses.
Okay, we got Brendan Allen taking on Kyle Daukaus. Brendan Allen minus 300 favorite, Daukaus plus 250. Two guys that rely on their grappling. Brendan Allen, pretty impressive last time out against Tom Breeze. Went in there, did the job, got the takedown. Absolutely mollywopped him. Did exactly what he had to do. Daukaus was on Contenders Series. He's a really, really long grappler. Grappling
Huge.
looks pretty good, to be perfectly honest, but no wrestling. Or at least the wrestling is a work in progress. The striking is a big-time work in progress. The line makes sense to me because I guess Brendan Allen probably has the advantage in wrestling and the striking department. So I get it. Minus 300. Do you think this is gonna end up being like a sloppy stand-up fight because both guys struggled to take the other down? Or do you think Brendan Allen just has a severe grappling advantage here?
I think Brandon Allen has a severe grappling advantage over him. I think he takes him down pretty much when he wants to. When he does get him down, listen, Daukaus is not terrible off his back. He's got a good grappling credentials as well. But yeah, no, I'm sold on Allen. Daukaus is kind of like a fake prospect at 27 years old. Out of Philadelphia, decent camp. He seems like, 6'3" for the weight class. As you mentioned on the Contender Series, he's got like a massive amount of size, but like looking through his entire body work, kind of half fraudulent. I just want to go through, I know we don't want to spend too much time on these kind of matchups, but just as an amateur, Paul, he's 5-5 as an amateur. What's super noteworthy here is that he spends 5 years as an amateur. He fought as an amateur for 5 fucking years and fought 10 times for free. Like, who does that? The flip side to that, Brandon.
We worked at my former employer, your current employer, for almost a year and a bit. No money.
Are you saying this guy is Robin Black?
Bink.
He fought as an amateur for 5 years. Now, this is super notable, right? You go back to, let's say, this fight versus Derek Bradley. This is 2012. He weighs in at 251 pounds, right? He's 20 years old. So he's a heavyweight. He goes 5-5 as an amateur after 10 fights over a 5-year span, and then now manages to drop down to 185. When you look at his losses as an amateur, okay? Guillotine choke, 3rd round. Triangle choke, 48 seconds. Key lock, 1.5 minutes. James Williams knocked him out in 48 seconds, and Paul
Nobody
Sims,
knows who that is.
and some guy submitted him in 43 seconds, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk now about he's a grappler. It's just like, I think he's someone that was so bad at grappling back in the day that he spent a lot of time on that. But he fights amateur from 2012 all the way to 2016. So it's like, or 2017, sorry. That's like a big span of time. When you look at a prospect, a real prospect in Brendan Allen started fighting amateur at 19, right? He won 4 fights in one single year and then turned pro. And then since he's turned pro, he's fought for LFA, he's fought main events. He's gone 5 rounds, 4 times in his career. Anyways, but just to get back to Daukaus, the thing with him is that you look at these are his 4 most impressive wins, okay? He beats Jonathan Webb. Jonathan Webb's a UFC veteran. He was 0-2 in the UFC. Jonathan Webb fought at 155 pounds, okay? So fighting this guy, Daukaus, who's 6'3" and fights at 185, is bad news. But Jonathan Webb manages to take him down in the 1st round. He manages to take him down in the 2nd round. In the 3rd round, he's had too much. He gets choked out right at the 3rd round. He gets submitted. Okay. Michael Lombardo fought him at 185 pounds. Michael Lombardo's very next fight, after losing on Contender Series to Daukaus, his very next fight is at 175, right? Now he fights at 170. Never middleweight, stands 6 feet tall. Stephen Ragman's fought at 162 pounds for the majority of his fucking career. Only fought twice at middleweight in his entire career. One of them is when he lost to Daukaus. And Nolan Norwood is the same thing. Used to fight at 155 pounds back in the day, but took a fight against this guy and lost. 6'3". So geez, that's why he's looking good. He's fighting guys half the size that are just not the skill level. Brendan Allen's last 2 fights, Tom Breeze and Kevin Holland, both 6'3". Prior to that, Aaron Jeffries 6'1", Jeffries 6'2", Moses Marietta 6'1". He's got that height, no problem. But it's the fact that those guys like Jonathan Webb are taking down Daukaus. Stephen Ragman, boxer, takes down Daukaus. When a real guy with real wrestling, real grappling credentials takes down Daukaus, that's when you should see the skill discrepancy.
Yeah.
3-1, man. That's a big line. But that's because they taped it. They taped it before I did, and he's got a lot of fucking advantages here.
If the advantage is if the ground advantage is there, then the 300 100% makes sense. If he's not I mean, the wrestling looks good enough. He was able to take down Tom Breeze. Yeah, it's just when they start scrambling around on the ground, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Anyway, anything else to say about that?
No,
one?
that's it. He's 24. He's getting better. Brandon Allen, 3-1.
I
got
got some
Pat?
Mike Perry first and second round odds. First round for Perry to finish is plus 175. Second round plus 400.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
like those props. I like when I play these types of props, like these round, like I'm looking for like 8-1. I'm looking for the Julian, what was it? The Cuban Missile Crisis.
Julian Marquez.
14-1, first submission of his career against Darren Stewart.
Only
Why?
submission of
Because
his
Darren
career.
Stewart taps.
Yeah.
Those are the types of plays I'm looking for. General trends that happen within that fight, big odds. Otherwise, I just like playing things straight. Yeah, I find it historically, Pat. I just get in trouble when I play like those shorter odds, like first round type of thing. Unless it's like a Abdul Razak Al Hassan, who is coming back and was not charged was innocent of all crimes. So
Alleged crimes.
he's coming back. I think they've got him lined up against some can. Like there
An
is
alleged can.
there is where we play round one.
Right, right.
I don't even know who he's playing or fighting. And during these times, I mean, who knows if anybody's fighting on any given day. We got Maurice Greene, the Crochet King, taking on Jean Villante. Jean Villante coming up to heavyweight, taking on Greene, who's like 6'7", gonna have a lot of size, reach, length, everything like that. Probably power advantage, you would almost think as well, even though Maurice Greene is not known as a heavyweight with power. Greene is minus 125, or sorry, he's minus 225. Villante plus 185. I'm not really in the business of laying minus 225 on Maurice Greene, but I may end up being in the business of laying minus 225 on Maurice Greene in this fight. Jean Villante didn't really have much of a chin at light heavyweight, and I never really got the sense that like he was killing himself to get down to that weight class. So moving up, I don't know if it's gonna really change all that much. Like maybe he'll be able to take a little bit more of a pounding. Yeah, I got Maurice Greene here. What about you?
Yeah, listen, I got Maurice Greene, but I think this is a pass. And I think that because it's 185 Jean Villante, maybe like the slightest, smallest little sprinkle of Villante because it's 185. Maurice Greene, he's just 6'7" with an 80-inch reach. Like that's it. He's got those physical imposing gifts, but there's not a whole lot to back it up. Yeah, he'll throw up a triangle off his back, but I just mean as far as the striking goes, he jabs from the outside. He likes to kick, kind of like that Greg Jackson like knee kick almost, creates a distance. He likes the push kick, and then he'll try to zing you with that right hand. But for a guy that's that big, 265 pounds, he doesn't have a whole lot of power. Listen, he's a former Glory kickboxer, but again, it sounds more impressive than it is. He was 1-3 with Glory. He was known for just guys would hit him twice as much as he would hit them. He got dropped 5 times during his short little run with the Glory promotion, and then all of a sudden he finds himself on the Ultimate Fighter. Now he's in the UFC. And the biggest thing here is that when you watch him, because he's so physically imposing, guys don't march forward at him. They allow him to just kind of dictate the action. They stay on the outside, and he's just chipping away at them. He's not looking good, man. So let's start with the Jeff Hughes fight, right? Jeff Hughes is 6'2", right? Has a 77-inch reach, I think. As far as height and size go, he's the same size as Jean Villante. Jean Villante is also 6'2" or 6'3", right? Has a very comparable reach. I don't think that Jean Villante is going to weigh in probably here about 240, I would imagine. And let's at least just use that Jeff Hughes fight as a barometer test, right? In the first round, not a whole lot happens, but at least Greene's backing him up. Second round, Hughes starts to let his hands go. He starts to march forward. That's when you get a real idea here. Greene does not fight good off his back foot. Now, Hughes stings him to the body. Good body shot. Doesn't really go noticed by Hughes, but he hurts Greene to the body. In Greene's very next fight against Junior Albini, he got dropped by Junior Albini by a left hook. And the next fight against Sergey Pavlich, he got dropped twice by Pavlich. So he doesn't have a great chin. He's not a great kickboxer. He's not a great wrestler. He doesn't have great cardio. He doesn't have a whole lot going for him. He's 33 years old. When he was on The Ultimate Fighter, he was smoking and drinking. Remember that? You remember that season. It's just not a great look. Now, he's uprooted everything. He left. I think he's at Factory X Muay Thai in Colorado. Left. And now he's at Greg Jackson's. So whether we think that's going to benefit him or not, I don't know. But quite honestly, Jean Villante's on the cutting block. And if he just goes out there and moves forward and lets his hands go, he throws a lot more. Does a lot more. Him at heavyweight, I don't love the prospect of it. But After he lost his last fight against Michael Lomachenko, he had a grappling decision draw against Chris Camozzi. He weighs 240 in that. And you look at him, he looks fat and out of shape. But he had a fight 3 weeks after that against Mike Rodriguez that he ended up pulling out of. It was at 205. So why was this guy trying to cut from 240 down to 205? That's the indicator of, you know what? Guy's probably a pretty big dude. He's probably hurting himself cutting down. And where you say he's chinny, no, dude, they're all split decisions. Split decision loss to Cummins. A split decision win over Francis Barroso. A split decision loss with Sam Alvey. A split decision win over Ed Herman. Like, he's getting hit. He's taking it. They're shitty fights. But at plus 185, if you're going to give me two heavyweights, one guy's actually a heavyweight, one guy's not, in a slop fest that's going to go a few rounds, it could end up
Maurice
being...
Greene has looked a lot. You keep thinking of him smoking darts on the contenders or on the
Physically,
he's
looked in better shape.
He's looked in a lot better shape. He
the
seems like
fights-
he's. But that being said, we're in
fights
the
haven't
era
looked
that we're in right now. Maybe he goes back to his old ways, right? Because he was definitely going on the right track. He was getting in better shape. You were
225.
able to see abs. You were able to see definition coming in on him. His last couple fights, and he's looked good. Now we got COVID. This is a guy who was already
has he
kind
looked
of
good?
lazy, like smoking darts. I know that I've been smoking lots of darts. Like, he could be back on the darts.
Yeah,
It's tough to say, really.
Yeah, it's tough to say because
I mean, you don't have to make a bet on it right now.
No,
We're
I
both
don't know.
passing
I
on
would
this
say I
fight.
would say the move is the pass. You don't want 225 on Greene, even if you are picking him to win, and I could see him winning. You don't want 225 on him, and the 185, yeah, it's a total. You're chasing a dog, maybe a punt. The pass is the smart play.
Sean Woodson takes on Julian Juicy J. Erosa. Woodson minus 400. Erosa plus 300. Erosa's coming in on short notice for Kyle Nelson, who had to pull out a couple days ago. How do you see this one shaking out?
Yeah, they're actually basically mirror images of each other. So I've got some awful. I made the foolish decision of I thought I was beating the line, and I put Woodson. I got a bunch of bets on Woodson against Kyle.
Oh,
Yeah, right. But because they're parlays, now I'm riding it. I don't know.
now
There's
you
a
have less value in the parlay.
total pain in the ass. Well, I'd rather them just give my money back and I'd rebuild my shit, right?
Yeah.
But instead, it's like I max
not
betted
how
him
the
a bunch of
game-
times.
not how the
Yeah.
game
Listen,
works.
right. And Kyle Nelson actually posed some threats to him. He's freakishly strong, and if he did hold him up against the cage or kind of use that, when you're that tall at 145 pounds, guys could outmuscle you. Maybe Nelson was going to do that. Here against Julian Erosa, it's like, dude, honestly, these guys are like kind of mirror images of each other. Like they fight very similar. Erosa's 6'1" on 145 pounds. He uses that lanky. He tries to cut different angles. He's very flashy. Not super a lot of power, some
not
flashy
very
striking.
durable either.
Well, that's his problem. Woodson, meanwhile, Woodson's 6'2.5" at 145 pounds. Tallest guy in the division. Fucking massive. Huge reach on him. Super flashy, right? It's the fundamentals go towards Woodson, and the durability goes towards Woodson. Woodson, not a guy that's been knocked out, let alone knocked out 5 times, which is what Julian Erosa's been knocked out. Not only has Erosa been knocked out 5 times, he's been knocked out 3 times in the very first round. Woodson just seems super durable. And what I mean by fundamentally sound is as much as there's he's winding up these hooks and it looks like he's slapping, and a lot of it comes he was 46-3 as an amateur boxer. He's very adequate with his boxing skills. As far as his wrestling goes, that's going to be his problem because he's so tall. But don't look at me in the eye and tell me he's not defending takedowns and doing a damn fine job of it. You can tell that he's really working it, and being that tall, he's going to have a lot of advantages. Coming on against Terrence McKinley on the Contender Series, he had no resume built up. Literally, the majority of his amateur career, he went 1-1 as an amateur, didn't really do anything, and was 6-0 or something as a pro. There's not a whole lot to look at there, right? And the fight with Terrence McKinley, though, it's oh, bam, guy can't wrestle. Looks like he's trying really hard. Looks like he's doing a good job, but he's getting taken down. McKinley's just having his way with, McKinley took his back in. And then he knocks him out with that knee to the head. Maybe it's a flash in the pan. But the Kyle Bochniak gives you a really better indicator where this guy's at. 28 years old, improving, trains with James Krause and Grant Dawson, right? So he's out of Kansas.
Glory MMA and
Glory
Fitness.
MMA and Fitness, right? Good camp. And it's one of those small camps where they've got these young kids and these kids thrive. James Krause is one of the craftier fighters in recent memory, right? The guy's got craftiness. Geez, Grant Dawson is one of these young kids, durable, good grappling.
I mean, they built Tim
scrambling.
Elliott too.
Yeah, and when he fucking went off the rails is when he left, right? And even guys like Zach Cummings. In what world does Zach Cummings win fights
They're all
consistently in the UFC?
They
In
all
a
kind
world
of
where
are able to hang around because they have all the fundamentals together.
Yeah, and I think that's where this kid's more than just some flash. Like, I really do feel like fundamentally he's super sound. And the thing with Erosa is that Rosa doesn't throw near the same volume. And this kid goes against Bochniak, lands well over 100 significant strikes. And not only does he land more than 100 significant strikes, the last round, last round alone is like 43 significant strikes. Like, he's almost like he's heating up. He's getting better. He's not fatiguing. Whereas like Erosa throws half of that, doesn't have the same stinging power, doesn't have the wrestling to take Woodson down. Honestly, like I said, both guys mirror each other. And even though Erosa has the perception that he's so chinny, I could see this getting some later rounds. I could see it even going to decision. But what I do definitely think happens, I think Woodson gets his hand raised. I thought he was going to win against Kyle. I think the same thing goes here. He wins. But now at minus 400, it's not nearly as appealing as it was. And again, it is what it is. I'm sure it's going to go higher than this at some point too. Erosa, who's at
He'll
Extreme
probably
Couture,
end up on the Cody Saftic special, like not on the 3 or the 5 parlay, but somewhere in the 6 or 7 range.
Who,
probably
Woodson?
Yeah.
No, Woodson's going to be on it. I think.
Oh, he's going to be in the early lock.
Yeah, I think Woodson.
Early?
Woodson, and we're going to talk about the next fight, Luis Pena.
All right,
I
get
think
into
those- I think
Luis
those are the
Pena
locks.
minus 260, comma worthy plus 220.
Yeah, what I like about Luis Pena is we've been seeing a lot of prospects exposed, so to speak, right? And you see them lose, and you're like, oh man, this guy, this is what was wrong with him. That was what was wrong. Oh, he couldn't strike. Turns out he couldn't strike. Oh, it turns out he couldn't grab. Oh, it turns out he didn't have a heart. But it's like you can tape study as much as you want, but you're going to learn in real time what this guy's got. The tougher the opponent, the more higher stress situation, the more this guy's going to go out there and shine. Luis Pena, he's been one of these prospects that hasn't necessarily been looking good all the time. It's like that's what's going to build a real prospect here, is losing fights and losing good fights and losing close fights. And that's exactly what I like about him, is that he's still young and that he's only 26 years old. He spent all that time at American Kickboxing Academy, and then by his own accord, very expensive to live in California. So nothing against AKA, goes to ATT. Good trade as far as I'm concerned, right? If you were going to trade AKA for any other gym, I suppose ATT is a good call. You see the pictures of him. Again, he's full in camp with Dustin Poirier. Masvidal's there. These guys are fucking looking good. I feel like he's going to have that benefit. He's at a great camp, and he's going to have a good strategy. That's one thing he's kind of lacked for as much as he has, because, again, he's one of these tall guy fighters for the weight class. Fights at 155, 6'2". He's going to be able to use that. Doesn't always have the best game plans, but he's not fighting joke opponents. Matt Frivola, again, that split decision taught him a lot. The Trezano fight taught him a lot. He's going to keep learning. When I look at Kama Worthy, Kama Worthy is very much, he had that big win over Devontae Smith.
Yeah, flash in the pan. How long ago was that fight?
I think it was in like September of last year.
Feels like forever
Something?
ago.
Could be.
What was this guy been up to?
To make
since
it,
then?
wow.
Comes in,
Pandemic.
plus 500
Yeah,
underdog.
it was in
Nobody
August.
knows his name.
Plus 650.
Plus 650.
Yeah, dude.
And knocks him out in the first round. I mean, that line on Devontae Smith was completely out of hand, of course, but
We called Clay Collard to win that one. The fight never happens. They caught Clay Collard without giving him a chance. And you
What
watching
the
that
fuck?
motherfucker boxing right now? Have you been watching any of that?
imagine. I can't understand.
Clay Collard's like
How
a
is Clay
contender.
Collard not in the UFC?
Makes
But
no
like,
sense.
come on, look at this card. right
Makes
now.
no sense. Makes no
How is Clay Collard not here? He's
They're mad at him.
entertaining. The
Yeah, they're-
people love him. Maybe he just demands too much money and they want to pay people $12K. I guess that's probably it. Get Cassius Clay Collard back in here. Cassius Clay Collard beats a bunch of the scrubs at the bottom of these divisions, and he's entertaining.
He's the most entertaining.
Bring him back.
No, not anymore.
Am I-
Clearly, you haven't been following his boxing career. This guy is lights out, man. He's gonna be making a lot more money. Boxing.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
then good for Clay. I'm
His
happy for
his
Clay.
last 3 fights, he's defeated 3 undefeated prospects.
No shit.
Yeah, good fucking prospects. too.
Nice.
Yeah. Like
Good
guys.
for Clay.
Lomachenko's training partner. This kid was like the next Israeli prospect, 19, undefeated. Fucking beat the shit out of him. Put him in the
Okay,
hospital,
then-
like brain swelling.
And
like,
don't even
like Clay
bother
Collard
coming
all
back,
day.
Clay. Go make that bread.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's the problem in a nutshell with Kama Worthy. Kama Worthy's got some skills. He could pose Luis Pena some threat. Absolutely, but he's very fragile. Like he'll try to put it on you, but in an instance as well, you could knock him out. Pena's not known for his punching power, but certainly he's got enough to hurt Worthy. And when he does hurt Worthy, and this fight ends up getting to the ground, Worthy's been known to give up his back a lot as well. His takedown defense is not great. He's got good cardio. He's got good punching power, and he's got a willingness to fight. He's very scrappy, but he's got durability issues. I mean, this is a guy that they call the Death Star, right? And the Death Star, when you think about it, the Death Star is this menacing, massive weapon of destruction. You don't want to fuck with the Death Star. But then really, All it takes is a couple proton torpedoes right to the thermal exhaust port, and the fucking thing crumples. And he is very much comma worthy. All of his losses, right? Mostly to UFC veterans. Paul Felder knocks him out in the first round. My boy Billy Cantillo, 10 seconds into the second. Matt Bissett, UFC veteran, second round knockout. Anthony Rekic. Anthony Rekic is currently 6-8. He knocked him out in a minute and 6 seconds. Kyle Nelson was supposed to be on this card, knocked him out in a minute and 3 seconds. These are not just you're getting knocked out, is that they're vicious knockouts. When you watch him, he's stiff in the knockout, and they're happening a minute into the round. So you only bet this guy when he's plus 650. You only bet this guy, again, he's a pawn at 220. You never bet this guy when he would be an even money guy or a favorite because he's going to have massive, massive trust issues. But because his way is bang or bust, I don't see that bang happening on Pena. Pena's durable. Pena's taken a great punch. Frevola nailed him with some clean punches. He fights all the way to the end. Some people thought he won the Frevola fight. It's a close fight, but it's a fight where he's going to improve and get better at. And then in the Steve Garcia fight, he kind of looked lost out there. But the fact that he was just taking the back so effortlessly whenever he wanted to, I think that's how this one's going to play out as well. So I think Pena's safe. I think you're playing cash game, you go Pena. If you go GPP, you're really hoping that Karma Worthy just crumbles apart. But I think that Pena at some point hurts this guy or just gets him into the second and third round, pours it on him, looks for a submission, and gets it done. But I have to go with Luis Pena.
Miranda Maverick, beer's kicking in, takes on Romero Borella. That one's always hard to say, regardless of how many beers you've had. I've only had one. Maverick, minus 300. Borella, coming off of a first round armbar from guard defeat at the hands of Courtney Casey, is plus 250. What can you tell me about Miranda Maverick?
Yeah, well, I absolutely was thinking of a way to potentially fade her coming in because I was like, oh, you know what? Maverick withdrew. I'm just seeing it right now. So that fight's
she?
off. Yeah.
Oh, skip it.
On to the next.
On to the next. I didn't know that. When did that happen?
Well, literally, I just went to go bring it up, and I was like, nope, she's not on this card anymore. And I see Maverick withdrew. If you want to know what would have happened,
Yeah, they were in the DraftKings system and everything.
I told myself I ain't betting on these 22-year-old UFC debuting fighters against savvy veterans anymore. But Borella wouldn't have gone beyond one round, and Maverick just doesn't stop. She's not very tactical, but she just doesn't stop.
I didn't even really want to talk about that fight anyway.
Oh, we're going
We got
on.
Felipe.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's that?
Do you think that she ends up getting an opponent?
Yes.
So Borella would get an opponent?
Well, oh, you know what?
I have no idea what's happening.
If it was the other way around, I would guarantee you she gets an opponent. But yeah, if it's Borella, it might not.
But if if Borella faces some scrub, let's say, because
Borella is a scrub.
Yeah, but if she faces some scrub and she's 7,100, her price isn't changing. Like, do I then use her?
I mean, yeah.
No.
It'll become.
I would say still no.
Well, I mean, Cody, you're just giving out favorites. I need a dog here, pal.
Right. I hear you. The only thing is, if you look at Borella, she's on a 3-fight losing streak.
I mean, it all depends on opponent. It depends on the odds that come in, of course. Like if it's
right.
If she fights,
Doesn't matter.
I don't know, a 12-year-old, like she'll be a minus 600 favorite at 7,100. You're gonna play her.
Okay, her last win, not her last fight, her last win. Okay, which happened against Taylor Santos, who I bet you.
Yeah.
Do you even know who that is?
Yeah,
And you do
I
a
watched
show
the
all time.
fight.
Right. Was she a good fighter?
I mean, she's
Because you want a split decision in that fight.
better
so
than
like
Romero Borella.
What the fuck? It's a split over like a nobody. And then she fought some people, like Lauren Murphy knocked her out, finished her.
Yeah.
Okay, finished her. Montello DeRosa
7,100 though.
absolutely
Here's what Pat's asking. We're not even talking about DraftKings.
Yeah,
but
we
what
don't know
Pat's
the
asking
opponent.
from a
We don't know the
DraftKings opponent, if she fights somebody who just happens to be in Vegas, if Gina Mazzani goes, you know what? I really think I got unlucky against Julia Avila a couple weeks ago. Let's do it. 135. I'm ready.
Then maybe.
Then maybe.
No, well,
Then maybe we play her
right.
at 7.
Right,
I don't know.
right.
I don't even know if I would
Right.
bet her against Gina Mazzani, but at 7,100, I'd probably
You know
play
what?
her
You know what, Paul?
because she has a
You're-
good chance of getting a win.
Dude, you're absolutely right. And you know what? Frank Camacho, we think he's going to lose to Matt
Yeah, fair.
Favola. Right?
Good
Oh, but
point.
hey, he's only fought $8,000. He's taking on a local guy from Extreme Couture, Justin James. Shouldn't be in the UFC. Fighting up a weight class. Recipe for disaster. Gotta have Frank Camacho on every single lineup because he's only $8,000 and he gets knocked down in 40 seconds. So Borella,
This
if he's
is
7,100 bucks,
125-pound women's though. Let's not compare. Morero.
She got subbed with an armbar from guard, Paul.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even if they just gave her someone who just knew jiu-jitsu, what the hell might happen?
She's supposed to know jiu-jitsu.
She's a black belt, I'm pretty sure. Like, that's what I don't understand.
They're just throwing those out like they're candy. These
Yeah,
days. That's like European Muay Thai champion. Felipe Lins takes on Tanner Boser. Felipe Lins minus 105. Boser minus 115. Slight movement towards Boser in this fight from open. I guess everyone watched Lins lose a decision to Andrei Arlovsky. That's what the crafty old vet Arlovsky does. Do you agree with this line movement, Cody? Or do you think this is just bad money moving it?
You know what? I would 100% agree with the line movement if it was the bigger cage. And I honestly do think that that's going to be a huge factor for me here. Boser doesn't really let his hands go, nor does he have a ton of power in his hands to begin with. But the one thing he does got is, as far as a heavyweight goes, he's super mobile, and he's got a great leg kick game. And he can win decisions over middling heavyweights by simply kicking them in the leg and running away. Very fair. Felipe Lins, meanwhile, not a very great heavyweight. He literally just got outpointed by Andrei Arlovsky on the basis of he didn't let his hands go. He didn't do anything. So, yeah, I completely see a world in where Felipe Lins, heavier hands, doesn't really let them go, throws a couple punches here and there, lands a couple punches here and there, and Boser's just out kicking him and just doing a little bit more and just staying on the outside and moving away. And a la the Andrei Arlovsky fight where he just didn't really do anything and he allowed Andrei Arlovsky to outpace him, he could do that with Boser. The problem with that I have with the small cage is now if Boser is forced to now engage this guy a little bit, Lins has heavy hands, and Lins likes to throw combinations, and they're like heavy thudding punches. Like in the Arlovsky fight, he wasn't doing a ton, but when he would let his hands go a little bit, you just got a sense of like, oh man, that might have hurt him. And being that it's an intimate atmosphere and sitting cage side, I don't know that you're going to process as much leg kick run, leg kick run, leg kick run, as you will on this guy that might land 3 heavy punches, and then that kind of be it. It is a close fight. I would say if you're taking Boser, Pat can tell us here, you got to take him by decision. Almost 100% if you're taking Boser to win this fight. You don't take him at 115.
He only wins decisions.
He only wins decisions, and Felipe Lins is a durable guy, right? Like, the finish in the past, not so much the case. Another one of these guys at ATT, one would have to imagine he's in good shape. Sorry, he might have left ATT because him and Arlovsky were both at... No. They were both at ATT, training partners. Never let his hands go against Arlovsky. But he's still at ATT, yeah. Anyways, I would say Felipe Lins. Pat wants a dog. He's not even a real dog here, but he's minus 105. So he's technically a dog. Not on DraftKings.
Not many dogs left on
Not
this
on
card.
DraftKings, he's not.
Lins to win by decision.
You're saying Boser by decision if he was ever going to
Boser
win.
by decision is plus 160.
Yeah, that's not
wow.
It's not worth it.
Wow. Okay, but if you are taking
Minus
Boser,
115 straight.
Did you say 115 or 160?
Plus 160.
Plus 160.
I don't play those props, man. You got to give me a lot of extra
Plus
value
160
for
over
shit
minus
happens in
115.
Shit
Listen,
happens.
Okay, that's fine. You called me greedy for chasing the points on Lauren Murphy, but you knew Lauren Murphy wouldn't finish in Roxy. You just knew it.
Yeah, I honestly,
Tanner Boser, if he's gonna win,
I still think chasing those extra points that you did there was not a good idea. You might as well have just taken it straight up because shit happens in this sport all the time.
I
just because it worked in that situation doesn't mean it works in every single situation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And at the end of the night when I was chasing and I'm like not doing so well in the card at this point, lost those nice parlays. Geez, our guys like Camacho, our girls like Van Buren, not going well. It was chasing the Bilal Muhammad by decision as nice plus money. Curtis Blades as nice plus money. You put these on some parlays together with a few other guys. Bobby Greene on it. Again, by decision.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Right. Now all of a sudden it's just like, oh fuck, I got to parlay with all these big plus money hits, right? If I was looking at this fight, it's even money. It's even money. Why would I want to, geez, it's 50-50, could go either way. I want my plus 160 because now it's not even money. If my guy wins, he's gonna stand.
But you're picking Lins, so Boser by decision isn't even worth betting.
And real quick, Pat, hit me with the Lins by decision.
Lins by decision.
It's going to be a big price.
Plus
man.
225.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
This fight's going the distance. Dude.
That's what I'm talking about.
What's fight just go the distance? It's going to be plus money. That's the pick on this one. You
gotta give me like double my money from what you will give me from just the straight money line. And Boser, yeah, he's very, very durable. He went 3 rounds with Cyril Gane.
We went 3. He went hard with Cyril Gagne, but also when you look at Linz, it's like, yeah, Jared Rochelle has absolutely no chin. Kyle Alencar has no chin. Alex Nicholson's not a heavyweight and has no chin. Josh Copeland, he took him in the 4th, so that wouldn't matter. Would have gone the distance. Yeah, I see this one. I see this one as not heavyweight fight. Something's going down quick. I see it like, yo, the guys probably are going to start to gas within 2. Boser's got a decent gas tank for a heavyweight, which is why he probably pulls it out late. You know, same thing with that Marc-Andre Barrios fight from last week against Oscar Pichot. It's like,
He looked good.
That fight just
That
went
was
to
the best
shit.
Barrios ever looked by a long shot.
For sure. Well, also opponent. Like, he had fought some decent guys up until that point.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just like, once the fight went to shit, it's like, this guy's got more in the tank, and he's just going to keep going, you know? Anyways, we spent way too much time on this, but it's going 15, so we spent about 15 on it.
I don't think we spent that long, to
Probably
be perfectly
not, but
honest.
too long.
We have Takashi Sato taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. Who do you think wins this one? Brahimaj.
Yeah, okay, so this is just another dog or pass situation. Like, it's a close fight, but I think you don't bet Sato as a favorite. A lot of people are saying that they like him. They're saying that he's, this Japanese bruiser. He hits very hard. I'm not so seeing it. He just seems kind of stiff and rigid in there. And he's not stiff and rigid and durable like a Hungyu Lim. No, not like that. He's more just like stiff and rigid and is there to get toppled over. His submission game, not really there. Been submitted a few times. Even like the Bilal Muhammad fight. Bilal Muhammad not known for his finishing, but it's just that you put it on this guy Sato. He's very limited in his skill set. He grinds him down. He eventually gets the submission. The problem with Ramiz Brahimaj is that there's very little to base this guy off. Like, fortunately enough, I have his LFA fights at work, but he's fought like 3 times in the last 2.5 years, and in those fights, he's got a lot of quick submissions. Right, his last fight again, same thing, 50 seconds into the first round. Before that, he loses to Justin Patterson by decision. Not a good look. Very fun fight. Entertaining fight, but this guy's just not there. On top of that, he's not a particularly big 170-pound fighter. He's at a Fortis MMA. Geez, are we on Fortis MMA right now? Like, they've been having some bad luck. There's just a ton of variables. However, I think that Sato's got a bad strike, or he's got bad submission defense. And Brahimaj, that's his go-to. I mean, he loves to grapple. And his striking's adequate enough that I think that he can stand with Sato. He could even hurt Sato, but he needs to just get the fight to the ground. When he gets the fight to the ground, go for the submission. Again, like Pat's saying, I got a whole lot of favorites here. $7,800 on DraftKings, plus 100 on the money line.
I mean, the
I would have to
card's
say
pretty
Brahimaj.
chalky, man. Like, the top of the card is just... Nobody wanted, and I'm feeling the same thing too. It's just like you look at like the deep undercard and you're just like, I don't know if I want to take any shots. So everyone's moved to the top of the bill and just slammed these favorites. Tough season, but this could be a spot.
Again,
This
yeah, could be.
No, I mean this spot coming up
Yeah, I
right
know,
here. We
I
got
know.
Jordan Griffin taking on Yusuf Zalal. Your boy, Jordan Griffin, minus 120. Wasn't able to fight last time against Derek Minner. Fight cancellation. I was out in the woods, so I didn't really know exactly
Who
what
knows
happened.
how much money
What
that could've
happened to
cost.
Minner in that situation? It was Minner who obviously pulled out. Like, I never really followed up with
Yeah,
it.
I
I
don't
just
know.
saw
It
that
must have been a weight
I saw that
cut
my
issue.
bet was canceled.
I know.
And then I
that
had
killed-
to make sure that I didn't have Jordan Griffin in a DraftKings lineup.
Right. We liked Jordan Griffin. We liked him inside the distance. We liked him on DK. Yeah, hurts. But yeah, no, at least on the plus side, Jordan Griffin has got a full camp. He's a guy that's been training pretty hard. Should be relatively in good shape. Yeah, again, this is going to be a close fight. I'm going to lean with Jordan Griffin, even though I could easily just say same thing. Hey, might as well take a dog. Yusuf Zalal, plus 100. But he's not really a
much a pick
dog.
'em,
Yeah,
man.
it's a pick 'em fight. So I'd probably take Griffin, and I'd probably take Griffin by decision, again, to try to get some additional points out of that.
To me,
But
really, yeah. Sorry.
the guys, they kind of have like similar skill sets. Only Zalal seems to be a little bit more of a refined wrestler. It's like, what are we basing that off of? That he looked good against Austin Lingo in his debut. And you know what? I didn't see it coming. I don't think a lot of people saw it coming. But up until then, the Moroccan Devil had seemed to just be an adequate striker, trains at a Factory X Muay Thai, decent enough. 23 years old. He's still green. He's still unpolished. Coming off a flying knee knockout in LFA. Like, there's some flash there. But like Austin Lingo just looks like a more refined product. And then he goes out there and absolutely terrorizes him pillar to post. Geez, good performance out of him. Now against Jordan Griffin, what I'm going to base on is why I'm taking Griffin is I'm going back to experience. And we've been seeing a lot of these fights recently. It's the same thing. It's experience wins it out. Zalal could take down Jordan Griffin. That's my worry here, is that he showed against Austin Lingo his wrestling's not that bad. Against in Jordan Griffin, we got somebody who gets taken down in almost in every fight. However, he's fighting just a better level of competition all around. And being that he's 30 years old and is a 25-fight veteran and has multiple appearances in the UFC versus a guy in Zalal who has 10 pro fights, he's 8-2. He, had a spoiler in his UFC debut, but he's one fight into his career. He's 23 years old. I got to it's a close matchup. They got to match up closely. I got to go with experience. And I think that he will get some takedowns over Griffin, but Griffin will make him work, get back up. And when it is striking, Griffin will be ever so slightly the better striker. And then eventually it'll be a decision, and it'll be a Griffin decision in a close one. But I would have to say,
Hey, what do you think that pays, the Griffin decision?
plus 185.
Plus 275.
Yeah, because I mean, Griffin's a finisher, but the Halal kid's not going to go away. So, you know what? Last week I sat here and told you I thought a lot of fights were going to go to decision because it just looked like a decision card. And we talked about it. All these fights that go to decision, a lot of plus money sitting on these decision props. Smaller cage.
Except for Jim Miller.
But that's the way he fights, right? So again, you got to look at styles. Griffin puts it on guys, but it's someone who's 23. He's not just going to break apart. He's not like your boy Max. At least he's done the dance a few times.
Clearly,
right?
that was me washing away. If you missed the beginning of the show, I don't know, imagine how you could have. That was me washing away.
What did they tune in after the first commercial break?
Yeah, all responsibility is off. He is not my boy. Do not call him my boy. That was like me washing the taste of Max out of my mouth. That sounds really off.
Cody.
The taste of Max.
Cody, how about this? Griffin decision, Lynn's decision, 11-1.
Yeah, and that's only a 2-fighter. You know, like every week we're trying to give you these 4, 5, 6 fight parlays, and if you're gonna put Mavericks off the card, if you put Pena, Woodson, Maurice Greene, Brandon Allen, and Mike Perry on a ticket, doesn't pay that well, man.
No.
You hit a couple of these plus money props.
This is a tough.
Easily
Honestly,
better.
this
and
is
one of them will shit in your pocket.
Honestly,
one of them will shit in your
I
pocket.
look at this board this week and I go, I've been doing pretty well recently. I'm not gonna get overextended this week because the fights that I do like and the fighters that I do like, they're already sufficiently juiced in most of these spots. So, the only parlay I've got a Poirier parlay, which is like the most Johnny Public thing of all times. But
he probably pays even money, and that's good enough, you know?
it's close, I think. But
I don't know what you got it at. I see money's coming in on Perry now, though.
either way, finally, we have one more fight, right? Unless
Yeah, we got Jinyu Frey versus K. Hansen.
Good. So there's only 10 fights on this card?
It's 10-fighter
That's
now.
going to make it even harder for DraftKings this week.
Unless they replace Borella's opponent.
Yeah, if they replace that. K. Hansen, minus 170. Jinyu Frey, veteran, former atomweight champion in Invicta, right?
Veteran, take her.
Yeah, she's been in a long time.
Plus 150. Now tell me about K. Hansen, and is she going to run through Jinyu Frey?
Okay,
Frey's
so-
fought some good fighters.
Right, and
This
that's
is like the one dog that on the card that I kind of looked at and was just like, I don't know enough about Hansen yet to like make a stand, but what's your take here?
No, I couldn't agree more, right? We had literally just finished breaking down some of these veteran fighters who they've competed for a long time and they know how to get ready for the fight. They're going to have a big advantage. Kay Hansen is 20 years old. Not only is she 20 years old, she's 6-3 as a professional. Like, that's not a spectacular record. It's not someone that has a whole lot of experience, and she's 20 years old. And here's the crazy thing about her, right? She turns pro, basically more or less most of her career has been with Invicta. She's a pro boxer as well. 1-4 as a pro boxer. Fought twice last year. Lost both of them. So I just don't know, like, how is someone who's a touted prospect also just jobbing out on the side on the weekends in pro boxing? She's a 10th planet jiu-jitsu. Like, that's her foundation style, grappling. Looks like her wrestling's okay. Not great, okay. But she just goes, man. And I think that's the benefit when you're 20 years old. I think you just keep going. So it looks like she's got decent size for the weight class. And those are the two things that'll help her here against Jinyu Frey, is that she's got that youth and that athleticism, but that size. Like, the one thing with Jinyu Frey is that she's a 105er. Atomweight.
Yeah,
Always been an atomweight. Her last fight, it's like, she missed weight, dog. That's an indication. She's got to go up. It's like, yeah, she weighed 105.8, but it was a championship fight. So she missed weight. But like, nah, man, she's a 105er. She's also 35 years old. So it's just a very...
Hey.
I'm not saying anything against 35 years old. I'm saying is that she's jumping up a weight class. She's jumping up a weight class for the first time, taking a fight on relatively short notice, where she has struggled in the past is against girls that take her down and have strong top position. Her notable losses from that exact position against Hamasaki up in Ryzen. Yatta Hamasaki is like former world champion, girl's been around the block, is very accredited. leaps and bounds ahead than Kay Hansen. And I see people being like, oh, geez, Hansen might do the same thing. I don't know. The difference, though, is that, like, Yamasaki's a small atom weight. Whereas, like, Hansen's ass alone is carrying 105 pounds. Like, she's got a fucking tush on her, bro. That caboose generates some power. I would say she's my baby, but she's only 20, so that's fucking creepy.
Well,
give her a few
It's not
more
illegal,
years.
though, at least.
Not illegal, especially in the state of Florida. Oh, they're in Vegas, especially in the state of Nevada. Yeah, what I'm saying is I like Kay Hansen, but it's a fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, also shame on you. Like, this happened to me with Brianna Van Buren. First fight in the UFC, looks like she's got all the skills. Against a savvy veteran, it started to show. We talked about the Hooper fight. Jeez, it started to show. There's been a lot of prospects recently. Jeez, looks really good on paper.
They're probably not
I
getting
won't
the
even
same.
bring up Max.
They're probably not getting the same quality time with their trainers and stuff that they used to.
Yeah, and it's also just like now you're making that walk, and it's like, oh, dude, what if the person takes my back, and what if the person, what if I break my nose? And like, these people, it's like, pfft, I got my back taken a bunch of times. I've had my nose broken a bunch of times. Like, you've been in situations, so you come out of those
It's
situations.
Ian Heinisch. It's like I've had my back taken a whole bunch of times.
Attempted to take my back.
I still got out of Rikers.
Right. And then the last thing here is that Kay Hansen can't strike for shit, right? So she needs to get the fight to the ground. Not can get the fight to the ground. Needs to get the fight to the ground. If she doesn't, for whatever, Jinyu Frey's got a massive striking advantage. But Jinyu Frey, reason she hit my radar is, do you remember? You probably won't. Douglas Frey was a Texas black belt. Yeah, regional scene guy, but was like Texas black belt. Fucking
No, I'm familiar with
Jinyu.
Jinyu Frey. Like, I've followed her career and stuff.
So it's not like she's one of these strikers that, she doesn't know how to grapple. Like, she deals with size, brute aggression, and it looks like that's exactly what Hansen brings to the table. But that shouldn't be enough for me to bet it at 170. So 10 fight card now. I probably will end up betting it because I'm a degenerate and there's only 10 fights now. But no, again, the smart call, be smart, pass on the Maurice Greene fight, pass on this fight too.
All right, let's get into the DraftKings breakdown. We'll start from the top. Dustin Poirier, Dan Hooker, 87.75. You need the winner. Dustin Poirier is the guy that we're picking. I'll have Dustin Poirier in my lineups.
Yeah, I know you got shit to do, so we'll rifle through it. But yeah, I think
Everyone's going to have Poirier, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, of course.
I think you fade him.
Well, then you take the
Then go for it.
$7,500 on Hooker.
Yeah, but does he finish?
Who, Poirier?
Yes. 5-round fight, man.
I get that, but like, if Perry could like win in the first round, you just take him instead and hope he knocks him out in the first round?
And it's $300 more to get up there.
You have you currently have your DraftKings open there, Pat?
I don't yet. I can get it.
Okay,
Mike
okay,
Perry
okay.
averages like 55
right,
points per fight.
But just tell me quick, Dustin. How much did Dustin Poirier score against Max Holloway 2 fights ago? Because there was no finish. It was 5-round striking battle, which is what I expect to see here. How much did he score in that with no finish?
Against Max Holloway, he scored. Where are you at? DraftKings points. 124.
Yeah, without a finish.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking most definitely a path. And Hooker, I don't know that Hooker withstands the same amount of punishment that Holloway did. Because with the Barbosa fight, it's like he showed you some inhuman shit, but he also eventually did top below.
He took the amount of damage that you're kind of like, that was a life-changing beating he took. I don't think he can go to war with Dustin Poirier like that. And we've seen Dustin Poirier get into that type of dogfight, and he comes out on the other side against Justin Gaethje.
Okay, so thank you for bringing that up.
Right?
Yeah, 170
Dustin Poirier,
strikes.
Pat, lock him in. I don't care. Hopefully other people think like you and take the other guy.
Yeah,
Get him in your lineups.
We talked about taking the other guy. I just want to like, if we're gonna.
Let's go with Poirier. Let's get through this though. I do actually have some other things I got to do
Okay,
today.
I will rifle through, but yeah, I do have to make that last point on Hooker. Hooker's last fight against Paul Felder. How does he come back from the Barbosa beating? Wow, he beat Paul Felder. The Paul Felder fight, he outpoints Felder fairly significantly over the first 3 rounds. The last round, 15 strikes landed, 25 for Felder, right? Last round, again, his numbers fall off from 39, 24, 26, 39, 15, 18. He was dead dog tired in that 5-rounder. He was lucky to squeak a split by Felder. I thought he won, but it was a close fight. When that doesn't happen, he's going to be in trouble. Okay, moving on though. Yeah, Mike Perry, $9,000. Again, he's going to be one of those chalk guys, but I think Mickey Gall is going to just fight the game plan of not engage this wild dog. We'll slow it down. I'm personally not going to take Mike Perry on DraftKings. Brendan Allen versus Kyle Daukaus, I think you go with Brendan Allen for sure. He's got points, path to victory as far as points goes with his takedowns, his grappling, his striking. He's got good cardio. As I mentioned, he's gone 5 rounds 4 times in his career. I think that Brandon Allen's a good pick there, $9,200 if you're not going to take a guy like Perry. Maurice Greene versus Jean Villante, that's a flat pass. If you're playing multiple lineups and you got a type of punt, maybe you would go with the Jean Villante, but knocking out Maurice Greene, that's going to be a hell of a task, especially when you're not a natural heavyweight. I would pass on that one as well. Sean Woodson, take Sean Woodson. Cash game situation, definitely go with Woodson because maybe he doesn't get that finish on Erosa. Yeah, he did put it on Kyle Bochniak hard. Yeah, he did knock out McKinney. 3 fights prior to that, all decision. He is a guy that just likes to be more of a finesse guy, tricky fighter, more than a clean power puncher. But even then, Erosa's got he's questionable chin. So $8,800, it's good either way. Luis Pena over Commonworthy. Luis Pena, $8,900, decent move. Commonworthy, listen, if you are looking for a punt, this guy's the kind of guy that is bang or bust. He does go for it. He did come through as a massive underdog in his UFC debut. At $7,300, he would have theoretical upside. Maverick Borella's off. Felipe Lins versus Boser. I think it's going to be a slow, not exactly the most entertaining of affairs, especially for heavyweights. I think you pass on Lins and Boser. Takashi Sato versus Brahimaj. This one might be one of those ones that ends up on like an optimal. I don't know for sure, but with Sato, if he is one of these bruisers, he's got big power. He's only $8,400. He could go out there and do some damage, get those points. Knocked out Ben Saunders. At least has shown some stuff in the past. Brahimaj, meanwhile, he's a submission ace, and Sato known to get submitted. He will also go for it. He's on record multiple times saying, "I just want fight of the night. I just want to please the crowd." If he goes out there and realizes I'm getting paid $12,000 to fight in the UFC, or I can chase that 50 G's, baby. It could be a high payoff, and he's only $7,800. So keep your eye on Brahimaj as far as that goes. Zalal could have a lot of takedowns against Griffin, so that would make him a high price guy. Griffin, meanwhile, will only probably have strikes against Zalal. That would make him less of an incline option. I like him on the money line. I don't like him on DraftKings. Zalal would be the better place as far as DraftKings go. And then, Kay Hansen, $8,500 because of the takedowns, because of the grappling, because of the pressure, because of all of that. One would have to imagine $8,500 could be a very nice little price tag. But again, we did talk about could be a sticky spot.
All I wanted to say to final, Dustin Poirier's wins in the UFC versus Holloway, 124 points. Alvarez, 107. Gaethje, 127. Pettis, 105.5. Miller, 103.5. Greene, 128. Duffy, 89. And that was a 3-round fight. You play Dustin Poirier.
Cody.
If Dustin Poirier wins, he's going to score over 100 points. You play him.
Percent chance Poirier wins.
I don't know. I don't think this way, man. I think of who's going to win a fight, and I put them in my lineup.
I would say 7 out of 10 times.
All I'm saying is that DraftKings-wise, that if you just take the other side of it, if 85% of the people are using Poirier and he wins, you still need to have the optimal after him. If you go the other way, you box out 85% of the field and you have your cheap guy. Then you need Allen to come through, Perry to come through, and whoever the other expensive guys are. That's a way to play it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, and listen, you're not getting a bad option, Hooker. He throws a ton of punches himself. He's got knockout wins over guys like Gilbert Burns.
Yep.
He throws that knee straight up the pipe. And there is that possibility that Poirier is not as motivated as he once was. We did kind of speculate on that. Maybe there's a possibility.
Plus, we don't know exactly where the rest of the industry is on this fight. There could be a whole bunch of the tout services out there that are all over Dan Hooker this week. I don't expect them to. I expect everyone's going to be on Poirier.
I got to go with Dirty
He's going to be chalky as hell. I'm just going to play him. I don't think the way I try not to, honestly. I don't think that way anymore because that got me in trouble a lot with my betting, and that's where my bread is right now. So I don't think about the boxing out 85% because then I start considering betting Dan Hooker, and I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no.
I found historically that's kind of a danger. So I'm more of a single entry DraftKings player. I'm playing single entry. Dustin Poirier will be on my single entry lineup. That's how I play. Hit us with the PRP, and then let's get out of here.
Yeah, okay. So PRP's got a lot of favorites again, but we got Dustin Poirier, we got Mike Perry, Brandon Allen. Maurice Greene. You should definitely pass on that. Sean Woodson, Luis Pena. That's a scrapped on the Maverick Borella. Our first dog will technically be Felipe Lins. Our second dog will technically be Ramiz Brahimaj. Not big dog money here, folks. And then we're going to go with Jordan Griffin and Kay Hansen. I think you look at decision props. I think as we talked about some of the ones that we mentioned. And then, as far as like boxing some of these guys for parlays, someone's going to shit in the pie. I like Pena. I like Woodson. I like Brandon Allen. I like Mike Perry. I like Dustin Poirier. That's going to make up the basis of your 2, 3, and 5 fight parlays. But does not one mediocre to big sized dog not fuck up.
No,
yeah,
somebody-
right. So you
somebody's
gotta,
shitting in the apple
so you
pie.
got to keep it small, and that's why, like me and Mayo were talking about on the show earlier, you can go a 5-fight parlay. It's not going to pay a whole lot, or you can hit a couple decision props where you got Lynn's by decision and a Jordan Griffin by decision, something like that.
Doesn't look like the easiest card to make money this week. And from DraftKings perspective, like it's gonna be really hard. I mean, I guess maybe we end up with Jinyu Frey. I don't know, because it's like really hard to make a lineup this week.
That's why Brahimaj,
I don't really like very many of the
Brahimaj,
underdogs.
Zalal, Tanner Boser,
Yeah.
Kama Worthy. No, I'm not on him, but I do see it. And a Jean Villante.
I mean, the week is young. There's fighters dropping off like while we're on the show here. So who the hell knows?
Also, not a hot take. Don't be surprised if Mike Perry somehow ends up fucking with COVID or something, okay? He's a moron. There's a great chance that come fight time, him or his non-existent corner have it.
100%. Any final thoughts?
That was pretty much about it.
All right, and then that wraps it up for us this week. Hope you enjoyed the show. For Pat Mayo and Cody Saftic, I'm Paul Shaughnessy saying goodbye and good luck.
Fat Mayo experience! Experience!